Hello, my friends. Happy Sunday. How you all doing? For our church service today, we'll be reading passage number 40 out of our Bible, the last triumph of Moses. We'll be entering that scary territory, sometimes forbidden, known as the Old Testament. You know, where God decided to talk to his conduit, his best buddy, Moses. I, for one, am quite interested in what the God of the universe has to say, so I don't mind venturing into the Old Testament. Let's check out the last triumph of Moses in Numbers 31, verses 1 through 2, and verses 7 through 18 in our Bibles. Then the Lord said to Moses, it's always my favorite part, "On behalf of the people of Israel, take revenge on the Midianites for leading them into idolatry. After that, you will die and join your ancestors." How nice. They attacked Midian as the Lord had commanded Moses, and they killed all the men. Then the Israelite army captured the Midianite women and children and seized their cattle and flocks and all their wealth as plunder. They burned all the towns and villages where the Midianites had lived. After they had gathered the plunder and captives, both people and animals, they brought them all to Moses and Eleazar the priest and to the whole community of Israel, which was camped on the plains of Moab beside the Jordan River across from Jericho. Moses, Eleazar the priest, and all the leaders of the community went to meet them outside the camp. But Moses was furious with all the generals and captains who had returned from the battle. "Why have you let all the women live?" he demanded. "These are the very ones who followed Balaam's advice and caused the people of Israel to rebel against the Lord at Mount Peor. They are the ones who caused the plague to strike the Lord's people. So kill all the boys and all the women who have had intercourse with a man. Only the young girls who are virgins may live. You may keep them for yourselves." King James Version. And Moses was wroth with the officers of the host, with the captains over thousands and captains over hundreds, which came from the battle. And Moses said unto them, "Have ye saved all the women alive? Behold, these caused the children of Israel through the counsel of Balaam to commit trespass against the Lord in the matter of Peor, and there was a plague among the congregation of the Lord. Now therefore kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman that hath known man by lying with him, but all the women children that have not known a man by lying with him, keep alive for yourselves." Isn't that nice? Again, this is the last triumph of Moses. Sadly, it's time for Moses to die, but not before one last hurrah. Before the Cupids carry Moses to heaven, he leaves us this comforting anecdote of his final exploit. Allow me to paint the scene with the accompaniment of the JS translation, that's the J. Schneider translation, as we can presume these interactions were hardly that of a nice Renaissance painting. I'll conveniently skip to verse 12 rather than illustrate the vengeful gore that God requested of Moses, making it yet another instance where the omnipotent God of all things mighty, miraculous, and magical prefers bloodshed over harmless soul-zapping, mass vanishment, or insta-death by disappearance, just to name a few. Numbers 31, 12 through 18 in the JST. Moses and Eleazar had finished eating the hind of a blemished, disfigured goat and were enjoying some joy plant, better known as Sumerian hulgil. The serenity of the distant horizon soon became overly cluttered with what appeared to be an excessive amount of captive women. Moses and Eleazar quickly left the bonfire to confirm their suspicions. Upon arriving and beholding an inordinate amount of used women, Moses flew into hysterical rage and began to berate his generals and captains. "You dingbats! Why have you let this scum live? These are the very women who are responsible for introducing our people to the Lord of the opening. They are the reason God killed 24,000 of our people. So I'll tell you what, see all these little boys you kept from killing? Kill every one of them. See all these women you also kept from killing? Kill them too. But only kill the used ones, those who have had sex with a man. I leave that to you to figure out." Moses then walked up to a young girl who was visibly shaken and distraught from the ravages of war. He knelt down closely in front of her and wiped the tears from her eyes. He arose and said, But spare these young girls and keep them for yourselves. They too must be virgins, and I also leave that to you to figure out. One easy way to figure this out is by sparing those that look the youngest and appear the most undeveloped. I'm sure the permissive act of Moses equated to a very minimal amount of time spent selecting and filtering, though I wonder, in the case of the Israelite gentleman, what a 9-year-old girl would say if she were kindly asked if she's a virgin or not. Traumatized by the death of her father and mother, of which she likely witnessed, I wonder how she would answer in this moment of life or death. Thus, other than calling for a purification ritual and divvying up the plunder, we have Moses' final act of war here in Numbers 31. Certainly, this man should forever be immortalized as a true hero. George Washington led the Continental Army to victory over a nearly insurmountable foe, forever altering history. Patton's final act delivered a death blow to the Nazis in the Battle of the Bulge. Lincoln lost his life due to his final Emancipation Proclamation. Moses nobly retired by extending the slaughter and gifting the remaining virgins to his men. Isn't that nice? You can find all 75 obscenities, absurdities, and atrocities within this book, The Holy Shit of the Bible. It's currently in stock in the TikTok shop. Thank you to all those who have purchased. I sent 14 out this week. I love you all. Thank you so much. Go have a great week, and I'll see you later. Take care.